There is a small town in central Mexico where parents teach children one rule before they're old enough to read. Never look behind you after dark. Not if you hear footsteps. Not if someone whispers your name. And especially not if you hear a child crying. Visitors usually laugh when they hear the warning, until they spend a night there. In 2018, a university student disappeared for nearly 18 hours while walking less than 2 kilometers home. When rescuers finally found him, he was sitting quietly beside an abandoned chapel. He was alive, uninjured, but the first thing he asked was, "Why did you make me turn around?" The town sits between dry hills and dense mesquite woodland. During the day, it feels peaceful. Children ride bicycles through dusty streets. Market stalls open before sunrise. Church bells echo across the valley. Nothing about the place suggests fear. But everything changes after sunset. As darkness settles, the streets empty unusually early.
Front doors close, windows are locked. Even stray dogs disappear. Visitors often notice something else. The silence. No music, no conversations drifting through open windows. Only the wind moving through old trees. Older residents rarely explain the reason directly. Instead, they repeat the same sentence. If you hear something behind you, keep walking. No one adds anything more. For generations, the warning has simply been accepted. According to local legend, the hills surrounding the town are home to something known only as the Follower. Not a ghost, not a demon, not an animal. Something that walks a few steps behind lonely travelers, always matching their pace, never getting closer, never falling behind. As long as the person keeps facing forward, they remain safe. The moment they look back, the story changes.
In October 2018, 22-year-old architecture student Daniel Herrera traveled to the town to document colonial buildings for a university project. He had no interest in ghost stories. He believed every legend had a logical explanation. After photographing the church throughout the afternoon, Daniel stayed longer than expected, editing pictures inside a small cafe. By the time he left, the streets were almost empty. The cafe owner watched him gather his backpack. "You'll be walking home?" Daniel smiled. "It's only 15 minutes." The woman hesitated before quietly replying, "Whatever you hear, don't turn around." Daniel laughed.
He assumed she was continuing a local tradition designed to entertain tourists. The walk home. The road followed the edge of the hills. Streetlights became farther apart. The night air grew noticeably colder. At first, everything felt ordinary. Then Daniel heard footsteps. Slow, measured, perfectly matching his own. Step, step, step. Whenever he stopped, the footsteps stopped too. He looked ahead. No one. He listened carefully. Nothing. After another minute, he continued walking. The footsteps returned immediately. Always behind him. Always keeping the same distance. The following morning, villagers noticed police vehicles parked near the church. Daniel had never arrived at his guest house. His phone last connected to a cell tower near an abandoned chapel at the edge of town. Search teams spent the day combing nearby trails. There was no sign of him.
An elderly volunteer quietly told younger officers. He looked back. Nobody answered. Late that afternoon, investigators interviewed several residents. Many shared similar experiences from childhood. One woman remembered walking home after visiting relatives. She heard someone humming behind her. She kept walking. The humming grew louder.
Then someone whispered, "Don't you recognize me?" The voice sounded exactly like her older brother. He was already waiting at home. Another man recalled hearing marbles rolling across the road behind him. When he finally reached his front door, he discovered several small stones lying outside. He had never looked back. No one could explain how they got there. Despite the strange stories, very few people claim to have actually seen the follower, because according to the legend, those who see it rarely speak about what they saw. While documenting local history, a regional historian uncovered handwritten church records dating back to 1813. One entry described several travelers disappearing after hearing voices on a moonless night. The priest wrote, "The safest prayer is the one spoken while facing forward." Another page described children who insisted someone walked behind them every evening for weeks. The advice remained the same. Never look. Never answer.
Nearly 18 hours after Daniel disappeared, a search volunteer noticed someone sitting beside the abandoned chapel. It was Daniel. He was staring toward the hills, completely motionless. His backpack rested beside him. His camera was still around his neck. When rescuers approached, Daniel looked confused. He asked, "Why did you make me turn around?" No one understood the question. Later, investigators reviewed the memory card from his camera. Most photographs were perfectly ordinary. Stone streets, old buildings, the church tower. Then came the final image. It had been taken while Daniel was walking. The photograph showed the empty road ahead, but reflected faintly in the camera lens was the outline of someone standing only a few feet behind him. The shape was too distorted to identify. No face, no features, just a human-sized silhouette. Daniel never remembered taking the photograph. During interviews, he recalled hearing footsteps, then hearing his late mother's voice. She softly said, "Daniel, wait." He stopped. Against every warning, he looked behind him. Everything after that was blank. He remembered waking beside the abandoned chapel the following afternoon. To him, only a few minutes had passed. Today, the legend continues to shape daily life in the town. Parents still teach children the same simple rule. If someone calls your name after dark, keep walking. If footsteps match your own, keep walking. If something feels close enough to touch, keep walking. Because according to the oldest version of the legend, the follower cannot harm you while you refuse to acknowledge it. It only gains power the moment you look back. And if you ever find yourself walking alone at night, hearing footsteps that perfectly match your own, there's one question you'll have to answer. Will your curiosity be stronger than your fear?